Digital Asset, which in my opinion is one of the more poorly named companies in the space, is leading a consortium with Deloitte, Goldman Sachs, and others to make interoperable private blockchains for the institutional sector a thing. Enterprise blockchain is back. Maybe it never went away, but it's a bit different now. And this speaks to the difference that we find ourselves here in 2023 relative to when we found ourselves in 2019, back when some of these initial ideas were floated. This one, I think you're seeing a lot of the interoperability conversation take place as you look to stitch together all these various institutional blockchains that are doing stuff over there in enterprise land. I'm going to toss this to Will. Maybe he has a spicy take. I don't know. Is this new news? Is this old news? Is this exciting? Is this a rehash of what we saw last time around? What's your thoughts?
Certainly not exciting. And to your point, yes, one of the worst named companies in the space. Impossible to find anything about these guys, but
Sure.
they are very good at getting money, I will say. Looking at their team, they've been around since 2014, and the most recent fundraising series I could find, again, this could be incorrect because it was super hard to Google anything about digital assets. The Series D, they raised $120 million back in 2022. That's a lot of money for someone who seemingly hasn't put out a lot of products. And that's a lot of these enterprise blockchain products, right? It's like we work with a lot of high profile names, we raise big rounds, and some people use us out there in the ether to move money back and forth between banks, maybe take our word on it. That's mostly what we've seen to date. Like there has been some stuff from like Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan about like their Quorum chain and how they're using this Ethereum fork of sorts to move stable coins back and forth themselves instead of like using like their own bank network. They use a blockchain based bank network. But a lot of this stuff is the same old. Let's put out some sort of enterprise blockchain solution which slaps some money on top of it and call it a day. So I'm pretty bearish on these things. Jen, over to you.
Yeah, so the interoperability piece and the synchronization piece really were driven home in this article. And I thought, like, isn't it funny that we've created this whole alternative financial system and we're still trying to solve these same problems, the interoperability and synchronization. And I hope that these institutions that are trying to implement the technology so that they can better work together behind the scenes ends up helping them work together for their end user. I mean, like, I don't know if you've ever tried to get information from one financial institution to another, or even from one department within a financial institution to another department. It is difficult, and I feel like the technology can be used to make that process a little bit better. And I think this is maybe a nice little blast from the past to show that institutions, are not only looking at crypto from the currency standpoint, but they're still trying to use the technology. They're still trying to figure out how they can make their operations a little bit better. But yeah, it's definitely a boring story to start us off with, Zach. So I'm kicking it back to you. Take us home. Make it exciting for us.
I will offer an alternate take. I'm excited about this. Come on, guys. The Canton Network, obviously, I think a nod to Switzerland, where they have different cantons. But I mean, this to me is very much in the real world asset conversation. RWAs, it's everywhere. It's like a whole new narrative around RWAs. You're settling, U.S. treasuries on the blockchain. And there are operational advantages to doing that, right? You get instant settlement. You eliminate some of the bureaucratic red tape that exists with some of these back-end systems, right? So the fact that you have some really big names associated with this project, Goldman Sachs, BNP Paribas, big time names who are looking to experiment with this stuff as a way to improve operational efficiencies. That to me is maybe the story here, right? And it's maybe something that we shouldn't poo-poo out of just like out the gate, right? So the idea that these systems can be used within these networks of big old banks is something that I think is really interesting and something we've seen a lot of momentum around in the last weeks and months around this conversation, specifically around RWAs, right? Can we get these things? Can we tokenize the many, many assets in the world, tokenize them, log them to a blockchain, and find better ways to zap them around the world than our current system now with sort of correspondent banking and all this red tape that takes so long to get money across the world? If we can use blockchain to log that in a near instantaneous fashion, then surely that's an operational improvement. And I think that's probably what this bet is from Goldman Sachs, Digital Asset, and others. But I toss it to Will. I think he's going to shoot me down.
I'm going to shoot you down hardcore.
I just want to say,
we did. I mean, we kind of took a dump on their name too, a little bit.
Boring. Not we. You.
I hear you. I mean, you're right. You're right. Sorry, Digital Asset. I take it back. It's okay. You guys are like impossibly hard to search online, and maybe that's a good thing. But anyway, Will, what do you think?
Well, to be fair, they founded in 2014, so maybe they were too far ahead of their time.
So
it's like, blockchain.com kind of nailed it because everyone's looking for them, but they could have in an alternate universe been like completely buried by SEO. Last thing I want to say on this, Zach, you are becoming like the authoritarian lover on the show or something? Like, what's up with
everyone
I like CBDCs, they help me pay my taxes.
Yeah, that's right.
I like enterprise blockchain.
Yeah,
I don't know. Something.
I'm trying to be like the Stephen A. Smith of like boring crypto takes. Maybe that. I think that's gonna be my lane. What do you think?
I don't love it, but I guess it does add a little color to the show at the very least.